Well, John, you've obviously analysed the Derby game. Is there anything else that you can take out of it that you didn't notice last night?
No, I think my post-match assessment was I think fairly accurate having watched the game back. I thought we dominated the game, probably a bit more so than I actually realised when watching it. We were in complete control without creating a huge amount up until the first goal obviously got done in the counter-attack and then re-established ourselves in the game really well. Again, got done giving the ball away, just a bit sloppy I think in terms of our possession at the back end of the second half, and then I think it was just it was complete domination in terms of possession in the second half without creating quite enough. That's just a big criticism I think I have of our performance, is well in control of the game but didn't ultimately create enough to win the game.
How did the boys come out of the game in terms of injuries and everything?
Everyone's fine, yeah. A couple of knocks here and there, but nothing major. So we should have the same squad to select from at the weekend.
We spoke about Lee Evans' inclusion last night. Something we didn't touch on was sort of his performance. You've obviously watched the game back, so how do you think he sort of got on, and him and Marlon got on in the middle next to each other?
I thought they formed a really good relationship. I thought Lee kept everything nice and simple. I moved the ball side to side really well. I thought, considering it was his first game back or his first start back for 6 months, I thought he did some really good things. Controlled the game really well. The 2-6, I thought, both did that. So really pleased with Lee. The only, I guess the only point to make is that we always had him penciled in for 55, 60 minutes. So that was always a sub we were going to make, and to be able to bring Owen off the bench was a real boost for us.
How were the other injured lads doing? Is anyone closer to a return?
I don't think anyone's close to a return for this weekend, so we'll have a very, very similar squad, but everyone's coming along nicely. Tom Lowry's probably the closest player to come back. He's at the final stages of getting involved in training with the boys, and then hopefully Callum will have back fit and ready for next week. Shrewsbury
at the weekend, what do you remember from the reverse fixture back in December?
It was a good day for us. We played really well and obviously came away with a 3-0 victory, but there's a lot has changed since then for both sides, least of all the fact that Shrewsbury have changed their manager and changed their fortunes by and large for the most part, pulled themselves away from the relegation zone, and they've put in some good performances over the past few weeks. So a very, very different side, I think, to the one that we faced that day, and it's going to be a very different test.
Like you say, a change in manager. How do you think Paul Hurst has changed Shrewsbury's style, and what are you expecting from them?
Well, he obviously knows this level really well with Shrewsbury. I think one of the outstanding sides a few years ago, I remember playing against the Shrewsbury side that I think got to the playoffs, possibly the playoff final, and ultimately fell short, having been in the top two for most of the season. They're playing some good football at the moment, and I think he's got them very, very well organised. I think a really good coach, and there's some good players there, so we expect a tough test.
Obviously, the Derby game was a point closer to where we want to be, to our target at the end of the season. So what's the atmosphere like amongst the camp as we sort of approach this run-in now?
It's still really positive. I think everybody just wants to get games and wants to get those games out of the way and get them played. And I think it's really good that after Tuesday night, this game's rolled around so quickly on the Saturday. The lads are really excited to get back to Fratton Park. We've got 5 games left, 3 of them at home, which is brilliant. And yeah, it's just, I think, a sense of excitement, and everybody's staying nice and calm and making sure that we keep level heads. I think it's the most important thing. I think you could tell that about the performance last night, in the conditions and with the circumstances surrounding the game in terms of what it meant to both sides. I still thought the boys performed really well under that immense pressure and under a lot of expectation as well. So I think there's a good balance of what the lads are going into the game. I'm really looking forward to it.
What else do you want to see from your team between now and the end of the season, or is it just a case of more of the same?
I think it's more of the same for the most part. I mean, we obviously scored a couple of goals last night, but I think we could have created a lot more. That's not a criticism I've had of the boys a huge amount this season. I think we've created plenty of chances, we've scored plenty of goals, we've looked very defensively solid. So just more of the same really, just making sure we keep the hammer down, we keep the pressure on everybody else in the chasing pack, and just try and pick up as many points as possible.